مرحبا، معكم مهندس سمارة من شركة ECC. واليوم بدنا نشرح example of P&ID diagram. هلا piping estimation diagram احنا عملنا فيديو عنه explaining what it is and features let's say that it has. بالفيديوهين اللي قبل كمان احنا حكينا انه in order to draw a piping estimation diagram we need to use Microsoft Visio. هلا بالاكزامبلز اللي حكينا عنهم بالفيديوهات اللي قبل رسمنا الكمبرسور ورسمنا الهيت اكسشينجر. هلا بدنا نرسم الرياكتور in the Microsoft Visio، بس هذا الرياكتور فيه a cooling jacket هو هذا. طبعا الكولينج جاكيت بدنا نرسم احنا الكنترول لوبس. لو انا a cooling jacket reactor with a cooling jacket في two control loops، عندنا الفلو وعندنا التمبريتشر. So we're gonna draw this on Microsoft Visio وبنحط التمبريتشر وبنحط البريشر الفلو كنترول. أول شيء نعمله بدنا نفتح فيزيو basic drawing. زي ما حكينا بالفيديوهات اللي قبل، الفيزيو ما حيعطيني كل الشيبس أنا بدي إياها، فلازم أضيفها by إيش؟ by adding engineering shapes and the process engineering. We're going to need equipment, we are going to need valves, we're also going to need pipelines, وحنستعمل instruments. I think that's it. إذا إحنا بحاجة إيش تاني بنحطه. أول شيء بدي أعمله نعمل pipeline اللي هو الانترنس تبع الرياكتور، فهي major pipeline هاي حطينا. Next بدنا reactor itself. Let's add the reactor itself. خلينا نروح على general equipment وندور الرياكتور. Okay, it's not in here. Let's add more shapes. Engineering, process. It's in the vessels. Okay, so we're just gonna add a normal column. هلا let's zoom in لأنه نتحكم بالدياجرام زي ما احنا بدنا. نكبرها. الديزاين هي أسود وأبيض. هلا الرياكتور it has a cooling jacket. How do I insert the cooling jacket? هاي بدناها شوي نكون احنا let's say creative with it. We'll just add a quick shape. بنحط السكوير إنه يكون هيك بالنص بين هون وهون. نحركه. That's good. We have to put this in the back. So basically لازم نرجع let's say الريكتانجل اللي هلا حطيناه أو السكوير اللي احنا هلا حطيناه ورا الأوبجكت اللي قبليها. So كيف بنعمل هاي الحركة؟ We send it back. هاي هون. So send back. هاي الطريقة احنا عملنا زي جاكيت. هلا بدنا entrance للرياكتور itself و entrance للجاكيت زي بهون الصورة موجود. فهذا الانترنس هو الفلو رح نحطه للجاكيت. We're gonna copy paste it. نحط entrance للرياكتور من تحت. من بعدها كمان نحط اللي هو exiting the reactor من فوق. نحكي انه رايح هاي الجهة. بدنا نحط كمان exiting للcooling jacket. طبعا ايش بدخل cooling jacket؟ obviously it's cooling water. فهي cooling water in, cooling water out، والprocess flow نفسه in and out. طيب هلا بدنا نطلع على الكنترول لوبس. احنا عندنا هون flow وعندنا temperature. هلا هذول indicators فينا نحطهم فينا ما نحطهم وبس cooling water out cooling water in. هلا in here we have a temperature control loop. temperature control loop كيف بتشتغل؟ عندي temperature indicator وعندي temperature transmitter وعندي temperature indicator controller. خلينا نضيفهم واحد واحد ونضيف الكونكشنز تبعونهم ونضيف الفالفز والباك اب فالفز اللي هم هاي وهاي والفالف الأصلي، ونعمل اللوب على الفيزيو مشان نشرح how does this loop actually work. فخلنا ندخل على الرياكتور هون. بدنا نعطي مجال or actually we might just add them. We'll see. بدنا نحط temperature indicator. نروح على instruments. بنحط الانديكيتور الأول ونحط الترانسميتر وبنحط الانديكيتور كنترولر. طبعا connection بيناتهم، فأول connection هو basic capillary connection ففينا نحطه using البايبلاينز ونستعمل هذا الكونكشن. بدنا نحطه هون. We connect it to this. We always look for the mini green box which tells us إنه it's connected. هون بنسوي لها connect مع هذا اللاين. بس لما هلا let's name them. So we have in here we have the temperature indicator. وهون we have the temperature transmitter. وهون we have the temperature indicator controller. تمام. هلا بين الانديكيتور والترانسميتر ما في capillary line اللي هو basic. فبنرجع على الانسترومنتس ننزل تحت ندور على electric 3 هي. we connect the transmitter indicator بالترانسميتر نفس الشيء. And we copy paste it and we also connect اللي هو الترانسميتر مع الانديكيتور كنترولر. هلا بدي اشوف موضوع الفالفز. هون عندي راح يكون انا a set of valves. Okay, I don't think we added the valves, so let's add it. Or did we add it? We already added it. Perfect. Let's go to the valves and fittings. We're going to need 2 gate valves. Here's 1. Here's 2. We are going to need diagram valves. And we are going to need, where is it? It's not a needle, it's let's take a look at this. Yeah, we're going to need 1, 2, 3 to each other and then this. Perfect. So this is going to go right here. We're going to add the connections between them later. And the valve that's going to go in here would be a screw down valve. There it is. You see how directly connected? Now we're going to connect all these together. So we have 1, we have 2 over here, we have 3 over here. We're just going to use the pipelines, or we can just simply also use connector from here. So we can connect this to this. And we can connect this to this with Zoom, so it can make it easier there for us. So we can connect this to this. So basically this way we have the valve connections that we need. Now, in order to connect, we go back to the pointer tool. The temperature indicator controller should be connected to the main valve, which is right here. So this way we need a pneumatic signal. So we stay at the instruments and we look for the pneumatic signal. Here's instruments. We look for the pneumatic signal and we add it in between the temperature indicator controller and the main valve here that we have. Okay, let's zoom so we can make sure it's onto the right place. Okay. You can, of course, if you want it to be like it looks the actual same, we can just simply do this and move it, making sure that it shows. They don't have to be on the same line, they don't have to be anything, but I just want to make it look a bit prettier. Okay, perfect. So now we have this whole control loop ready. So let's talk about it. What is this control? It's a temperature control. So the temperature control loop right here, it plays with the temperature of the stream that's leaving the reactor. كيف؟ احنا عندنا الستريم اللي طالع من الرياكتور. اوكي هذا الايرور غلط، لازم الايرور يكون طالع هاي الجهة. let's switch it. And this is one of like the biggest mistakes that we should not make. So we go to pipelines, we go to a major arrow. This has to be here because it's exiting the reactor. So the stream exiting the reactor, basically it should be at a certain temperature that's required or designed. So we add or we install a temperature indicator on that stream, which is right here. Now this temperature indicator, it will indicate the temperature of the reactor leaving. And then the transmitter will, the indicator will send electric signal to the transmitter. The transmitter will send another electric signal to the temperature indicator controller. هذا controller, it will order a valve a certain order depending on this temperature. For example, if the temperature is too high, it's higher than the required or the design temperature that I need, it's gonna have to be, it's gonna allow, or let's say it's going to order the valve to let in more water, more cooling water. Or let's say it will allow the valve to increase, or it will order the valve to increase the flow rate of the cooling water entering the cooling jacket, and therefore decreasing the temperature, and vice versa. The temperature is way too low than the required temperature. That means إنه الجاكيت عندي الكولينج جاكيت عم بيعمل overload، عم بيعمل job زيادة. شو بصير؟ اللي بصير إنه الكنترولر it will send a signal إنه هذا الفالف لازم يقلل الفلو rate, decrease the flow, decrease the opening of the valve, decrease the flow rate of the cooling water entering the cooling jacket, and therefore the temperature بتعلى لل required temperature. طيب احنا خلصنا هذا البارت. خلينا نروح على البارت الثاني. البارت الثاني اللي هو بيحكي احنا عندنا a flow control, flow loop. To make my life a bit easier, look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. Ultra copy. Go all the way down. Give some space for our work to be done. Ultra paste. And just take it and do this. It still needs to be a bit fixed, I think. No, we're good. This way it just makes our jobs a bit easier. Now we have to add the indicators and the transmitter and all of that stuff. So this has to be added before and on it. So we need this to be a bit longer. So we have space to add it to. Okay, so we will need an indicator and a controller. Simply just copy. Okay, we need the pneumatic signal as well. So copy, paste, let's use them. So we have the temperature indicator controller above the valve. We have the transmitter and we have the indicator right here. We can just simply do this, connect them the right way. We double click on each one so we can change what's written inside because we have a flow one. So a flow transmitter, a flow indicator controller, and a flow indicator. Perfect. So now we need a basic capillary line right here. We connected the indicator. Ooh, what does that? Okay, connect the indicator to the actual line. Then we need the pneumatic signal. To connect the indicator controller to the main valve. So this is how we do it. Okay. Now let's talk about this flow loop that we have, which is right here, the flow indicator controller. I'm just double checking. Okay, so the inlet to the reactor, the process inlet, it has to enter the reactor at a designed flow rate, at the required amount of flow rate. Why is that? Let's say the reactor has a catalyst, for example. The catalyst can only handle a certain amount of flow rate, a certain amount of materials going in it at once. Or let's talk about the leaving. What if there's another equipment that's only a certain flow rate can enter it? So the flow rate going to the reactor is a very important value. So how do we control that flow rate? What we do is we add this control loop, the flow control loop. The flow rate will indicate the amount of flows going on in the reactor. It will send the signal to the transmitter and a signal to the indicator controller. This will order the valve, whether if it's too high, it will just decrease the flow rate, and if it's too low, it will increase the flow rate, and so on. It's a very basic, straightforward loop, but even though it's a very essential flow loop. And this way we finish the P&ID diagram for the reactor with a cooling jacket. If you guys need any, like if you want to add for example, the temperature and the pressure and temperature indicators, is very simple. It's just this, you just copy this. So copy, paste, and zoom so we can know what to do with it. You add it over here, add a capillary line, and so on. If you want to add, for example, if you see here, I'm adding I'm naming them, saying what they are. Very simple. If you want to add, I'll show you that next. It's already been said also in previous videos, but I'll show you the valves. If you want to call them V1, V2, V3, just have to double click. So double click on this. I can call it V1, and so on. If you don't like where the V1 is, you can just click on it. You see that yellow, that you can move it and call the V whatever you want. If you want to add anything else, you can either add a shape, saying more shapes, adding, for example, basic shapes, adding, for example, a rectangle right here. I can simply just make it smaller. If I want the cooling water to be right here, I can just insert a text box and then put it in here and just say cooling water in, or whatever I want to call it. I can move it, and so on. So you can just name and play with it, whatever you feel like. But that will be basically the P&ID for a reactor with a cooling jacket. Thank you very much. We've already done, let's see, we've done the compressor, we've done the heat exchanger, now we've done the reactor, and next hopefully we work on the absorber, which is the biggest equipment to work on. It has 3 control loops and even multiple if it needed.